Welcome to the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast page. My name is Lori Norris, and I created this show for you. I want this show to serve as a source of advice and guidance as you navigate the military transition path. I want you to know that you're not alone with what you're going through, and I want you to know that there is only one right way to transition out of the military, and that is the way that you choose to do it. We're just here to help smooth the path ahead of you and advise you about any bumps in the road that you might come across. So if you enjoy this video, please give us a like, subscribe to our page, and I encourage you to go to your favorite podcast provider and listen to the full episode of this show. You can also visit our website at www.ll4forvets.com. I promise you will get some great information. Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining me for the bonus question edition of the Lessons Learned for Vets podcast. So my bonus question for you today is, if you could go back and do it all over again, go through the whole military transition process again, what would you do differently?
That is a very loaded question. So it's a couple of things. One, I would have probably left the Marine Corps before I came up for major, right? And that's going to sound really extreme, and my pride would never let me do that. But I think based on how my career path shifted from aviation to logistics, I should have been willing to be honest with myself and realize how much of a struggle I was going to have in getting promoted, and probably should have crossed service transfer. I think the Army is a great service, especially in logistics. But really, I think the chance to get that fresh new reset and become more competitive for promotion would have given me a better fresh start, I think, by leaving the service and joining a different service, either Air Force as an LRO or the Army. So after I fell out of aviation and got into logistics, I probably should have taken a quick, hard look at service transfer, right? And I never even considered it. No one ever brought it up as even an option or an idea. But the other services have a lot to offer. And again, if you have a troubled career path where you're fighting for credibility or had a bad boss, got some bad paper, look at an inter-service transfer, because it may give you that fresh reset, delay a look at promotion or something else to give you time to kind of reinvent yourself going forward. And not all of your fit reps will necessarily carry with you when you go to become looked at. It does give you the reset. And that is definitely something I wish I would have known about or even considered before I came up for promotion. The second aspect is that I would have looked at transition probably starting 2 to 3 years into the service, right? Understand financially things I've learned now about life insurance, right? Like, hey, I could have had a whole life plan at 22 that would have been a lot cheaper. That could have lasted me the rest of my life, buying into it for 10 years, right? I was told about, Roth IRAs and other investment options. But, I looked at life insurance right early on, beyond SGLI, get a whole life plan, even a $50,000, $70,000 policy, something to just get that established, buy into it, let it grow as an investment. Financially, same thing. Where do I want to be to get out? The hunting analogy I talked in the podcast, if you didn't listen to it, go back and listen to it. But start assessing my weapon. You start looking at my identity, start exploring who I am and where I want to go, so that, if transition came, like it or not, I wasn't stuck. Right? Make myself credible, make myself marketable, make myself competitive out of the uniform while I was still in. So I wasn't stuck in the military. And I know there's a lot of push. Again, our company, I talked with a sergeant major today. It's like, the culture problem you're going to run into is that, retention is the focus of the military.
Right.
And if I make everybody so marketable as civilians, we're going to have a retention problem. I was like, yeah, but then those that stay are staying because they really, really want to. And you have an exponential quality increase in those that stick around. So I think it's, again, that different viewpoint, but I'd say, make yourself as competitive as a civilian as possible while you're in uniform. Use the benefits you have, right? For those that are in the Army or the Air Force, right, work with me, get PMP, Agile, Lean Six Sigma, change manager, risk management, upgrade your weapon to be so marketable that you can leave whenever you want.
Right.
Because again, I think that makes your service life different. It makes how you treat service different. And then it definitely changes how you treat transition, because you're not stuck, right? You're not tied into only one slot. So it's kind of too big. What would I do different? Like, those are the vulnerable sides of, I would have left the Marine Corps, and I would have started thinking about transition much earlier and never taken it for granted that, I thought I'll always have a career, an 11-year contract, because I was an aviator, like, I'll promote, I'm guaranteed major. I put so much stake into the security of my job that I never never let myself think about not being in the military, and I got caught flat-footed, right? I got lucky a little bit, but I was not prepared. And that's driving now my passion, for our company, and driving my passion in messaging is to help prepare people much, much earlier to be successful.
I think you and I share that common passion with trying to reach service members far earlier in their transition, in their service career, than before they're ready to get out. Right. I think
Absolutely.
If we wait until that 12 months, right? They say 12 months before you get out, you go to TAP. That's too late.
That's the firefight.
We are behind the 8 ball by that time. And so we have got to do it sooner. And I am right there with you. And I think that I know that the military is in the business of making service members into effective soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, but coasties, but they need to start putting that investment in their people earlier in their careers, because God willing, every active duty service member will transition into another career. And so why aren't we taking as good a care of them in that second part of their career as we're taking of them while they're in the military? I think they deserve that treatment. They deserve that success in the next phase of their career.
And they do. And I agree with you. And I think that's, I've heard some generals talk about, how do we build on soldier lethality and credibility in and out of uniform? And I'm like, I have a solution for you. Like, we have a means to do that. Right. And I think certifications are one of those means to improve on, soldier lethality or service member credibility in uniform that does create that bridge, on the way out. And at a year out, again, to my hunting analogy, like you're in the firefight, you do not want to be upgrading your weapon when bullets are going downrange, right? You have to build your system, your support network, your finances, store up the ammo, chow, and water, right? Much earlier. So when you come into transition, you're simply refining your aim and taking out targets, right? But most people don't even think about it. We don't build a support network. We don't build our finances. We don't have insurance set up. We don't have anything ready to go until we go to TAP. At that point, it's a scramble X as you get overwhelmed and have no idea where to start. Or again, if we built it earlier, I think the transition becomes the next step, not a trip off a cliff. And that's what we want to help. And I agree with you. I am 100% on board with everything you're trying to do. And so excited to talk with you today.
Bringing it home with another amazing analogy from Josh. He is the master of analogies, but that was like the perfect way to describe it. When you're getting ready to get out, you are in the fight. Like bullets are flying. It is not time for you to start upgrading at that point. That was great. Thank you so much, Josh. I really appreciate your insight.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's great to be here, Lori. Awesome. Thanks for what you do.
Hey, thank you for watching the video today. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? Did you leave us a comment? Have you listened to the full episode of the podcast on your favorite podcast provider? We sure would appreciate it if you would do all of these things to support us today.